Many of us are still feeling the sting of the cost of living crisis. Everything has gone up in price, from mortgages to insurance to even our grocery shopping. But it looks like things might be starting to get a little better. From the 1st of July, the cost of our electricity will be going down. Now, granted, it's still higher than when the Ukraine war started, and it's still nowhere near pre-COVID levels, but it's a step in the right direction. But what will that mean for the running costs of our video game consoles? How much of a difference is it actually going to make for us in the long run? Hello fellow gamers, and can we finally enjoy our consoles for a little longer without breaking the bank? The 1st of July marks the end of the government's energy price guarantee and when Ofgem's price cap comes back into play. That means for any of us who aren't on a fixed energy tariff, the cap on our electricity will drop from about 34 pence to around 30 pence per kilowatt hour. That's roughly a 12% reduction in the cost of powering anything within our homes, including our games consoles. Now that's definitely a step in the right direction, but it's still a lot higher than it used to be. And there are so many people in this country still struggling with their bills, so we're definitely not out of the woods yet. And the electricity is only going down like, 4 pence per kilowatt hour? Is that really going to make any difference? Well, to find out, I've taken the power draws that I've already measured for all of my consoles and recalculated their costs based on this new upcoming price cap. And I think, in order to give you the best picture of the difference it will make, I'm only going to focus on some of the consoles that are the most expensive to run. I'll start off with the launch of PlayStation 3, the fat, backwards compatible model. In my testing on the old tariff, it worked out as costing roughly 7.25 pence per hour and a staggering £1.74 to play for an entire day. With the new 1st of July price cap though, we'll see these costs drop to under 6.5 pence per hour and closer to £1.50 per day under the same conditions. You'll be looking at a saving of nearly a penny an hour and nearly 20 pence per day on the new tariff if you were playing it constantly. The numbers look similar when we compare the costs of running a PlayStation 5 as well. Playing Gran Turismo 7 for an hour cost us just under 7 pence per hour and at least £1.66 to play any of the 24-hour endurance races. Soon though, this will change to be closer to 6 pence per hour and under £1.50 per day when actually using the system. Again, this works out as about a penny per hour saved and close to 20 pence per day less if you're really putting your PS5 through its paces all day. Of course, it's not just Sony consoles where we're going to be seeing this reduction in running costs. The Xbox Series X running Doom Eternal with ray tracing enabled cost about 1.5 pence less per hour to run compared to the PS5 and about 25 pence less for a full day. From July though, the cost of running a Series X will drop well below the 5 pence per hour mark to run and it will be more like £1.10 for a full day's worth of ripping and tearing. That equates to roughly half a pence per hour saved and about 14 pence per day less than it was before. The Xbox One X shows a similar saving to its younger, beefier brother. Once the new cap comes into play, we'll be looking at another half a pence per hour and 14 pence per day saving compared to before. And even the running costs of the One X's direct competitor in this generation, the PlayStation 4 Pro, sees similar drops as well. So if we take all of these cost differences at face value, it doesn't look like we're going to save that much, does it? There's only the odd half penny to a penny an hour here or there, which doesn't sound like a lot at all. And this is with the systems that are more expensive to run. Many other games consoles cost a lot less to run than these, so the savings to be had with those will also be dramatically smaller. And let's not forget how much these consoles are costing us when we're not even using them. If you left all of these on their typical standby modes, and miraculously none of them downloaded anything, you'd be hard-pressed to see much of a difference from the old tariff to the new one. Well, except the PS4 Pro, of course. However, it's their cumulative cost in the long run where we start to see these savings stack up. Let's say we only played these consoles for an hour a day, and the rest of the time they were left in their default standby modes. We'd start to see savings of at least £2 a year per each of these systems, with some of them even nearly costing £4 less per year. Now, each of these alone aren't going to afford you a celebratory pint of lager at New Year's, but if you have a number of these consoles, or even all of them, and you're using them quite often, that works out as quite the saving overall. The cost difference over a year is akin to turning off some of the older systems from the wall when not in use. Consoles like the Mega Drive 2 and even the Atari VCS previously cost us around £3 a year when plugged in and doing absolutely nothing. Those savings are nothing to sneeze at if one is trying to save as much as possible. And it's the same here. And remember, this new cap will affect not just the cost of running your consoles, but everything you have plugged into the wall. From your phone charger, to your TV, to your fridge freezer and to your oven. And, of course, your kettle for those comforting cups of tea us Brits have in our time of need. So does all this mean we can play our consoles for longer now? And if so, by how much without them costing more than they did before? Well, that's going to entirely depend on your situation. Certainly by measuring the savings on these consoles alone, based on 1 hour's play a day, I estimate that you could play each of them for around an hour or so longer per week without them costing more than they used to. Although this doesn't take into account how much you play already, and certainly doesn't include the cost of running your TV, or any accessories either. On the flip side though, it doesn't include savings already made from everything else in your home. So I'd say take that measurement with a pinch of salt. It's going to totally depend on your typical use. So, in summary, there are two ways we can look at this depending on your situation. We can carry on as before, limiting our playtime and turning everything off where possible in order to further reap the long-term savings of the new price cap. This would be the preferred option if you're in a bit of a pinch. Or, we can play our consoles for a little longer, even if it's just another hour or so each week. Given how mental health is on the minds of many people these days, having that slight extension in your playtime could well pay dividends. Though it has to be said, a small change in the cost of our electricity doesn't mean that we can just throw everything we've done to cut costs out the window. We should remain diligent. I still stand by the advice given in all of the previous videos in this series. You'll want to turn off consoles you're not using, adjust the standby modes of the ones you do use, and think carefully before picking a console to play, because some are more expensive to run than others. Speaking of the previous videos, yes, the estimated costs on those will be out of date come 1st of July, but rest assured, I'm going to go back to each one and update my pinned comment to reflect the latest costs. And on that note, I'm going to head off, so thanks very much for watching. I still have a few more console variations that I'd like to cover in future videos in this series, so be sure to stay tuned for those. Let me know down in the comments which consoles you want to see in upcoming entries in the series. And hey, while you're down there, a like is always appreciated if you enjoyed the video, and there's always that subscribe button if you want to hear more from me. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.